This clay tablet names a king who ruled for 36,000 years. It's real, it's sitting in a museum right now, and people in Iraq say he never actually died. His name was Alangar, and according to the Sumerian King List, carved into stone over 4,000 years ago, he reigned over the city of Eridu for 36,000 years. Now, historians will tell you that's just a myth, a scribe's exaggeration, a number that got lost in translation. But here's what they don't explain. The same tablet lists 8 kings before the Great Flood, every single one of them ruling for tens of thousands of years, all in the exact region where the oldest city on Earth was found. And in the villages near those ruins, there's a story that refuses to die of a figure still seen walking the sand where Eridu once stood. So in this video we're doing 3 things. Uncovering who these impossibly old kings really were, why the number 36,000 keeps showing up across ancient records, and whether the man locals still describe could be more than just a legend. Starting with the tablet itself, and the one detail archaeologists have never been able to explain. The tablet is real. You can see it today in the Ashmolean Museum in Oxford, a 4-sided clay prism, no bigger than your forearm, carved over 4,000 years ago. It's called the Weld-Blundell Prism, and on it the Sumerians did something no other ancient people dared. They wrote down the names of their first kings, going all the way back to the beginning of the world. The list opens with a single line. After the kingship descended from heaven, it was in Eridu. Eridu, the oldest city on earth, whose ruins still sit in the southern Iraqi desert. And the first kings who ruled there didn't reign for years or decades. Alulim ruled for 28,800 years. After him, Alangar, 36,000 years. 8 kings, 5 cities, before a great flood swept it all away. Add their reigns together and you get 241,200 years of kingship before recorded history even begins. It is where every historian says the same thing. It's myth, exaggeration, a scribe inventing impossible numbers to make his kings sound divine, and for a long time that was the end of it. Except it isn't, because when you actually look at the numbers, they're not random at all. The Sumerians counted in 60s. Their sacred unit was the Sar, exactly 3,600, and every one of these impossible reigns is a clean multiple of it. Alangar's 36,000 years. That's precisely 10 Sars, not 35,000, not 37,000, 10. Break the whole list down and nearly every reign is a multiple of 3,600, a pattern far too clean to be an accident. Sit with that for a second. These numbers weren't remembered, they weren't recorded, they were built. Someone engineered the reign of every king before the flood using a mathematical code, then buried it inside a list we've spent a century calling a fairy tale, which leaves a question no one has ever answered. If you're going to invent a number, why encode it? What were they hiding inside 36,000? And the strangest part is what happens when that number appears a second time on a different king in a different city whose story doesn't end with a reign at all. It ends with him coming back. Move down the list past Eridu to a city called Bad Tibira. There, another king appears, and beside his name, the exact same impossible number, 36,000 years. 10 Sars again to the digit. But this one isn't a forgotten name on a prism. His name is Dumuzid, and the Sumerians didn't just call him a king, they called him a god, Dumuzid the shepherd. And unlike every other name on that tablet, we know his story because they told it for thousands of years. He was the beloved of Inanna, the queen of heaven. When she was dragged down into the underworld and clawed her way back out, she sent demons to drag Dumuzid down in her place. The king who reigned 36,000 years died, but he didn't stay dead. The Sumerians believed Dumuzid spent half the year below in the land of the dead and half the year here, walking among the living. His descent was the killing heat of summer. His return was the green of spring. He died and came back and died and came back forever. And this is where the skeptic finally wins. because now it all snaps into place, doesn't it? A god who dies each summer and rises each spring. That's not history, that's a story farmers invented to explain the seasons. The 36,000 years aren't a code hiding a secret. They're a sacred round number dressing up a myth. The dying king isn't real. He's a metaphor for a wheat field. Case closed. Except one thing refuses to fit. You don't grieve a metaphor. You don't weep over a symbol for crop rotation. And yet every single year, in the deadest heat of midsummer, entire cities across Mesopotamia stopped. They tore their hair, they fasted, they carried the image of a dead man through the streets and wept over him like they'd lost their own son. For a metaphor, and that mourning didn't die with one generation or one city. It survived the fall of Sumer, it survived Babylon. It outlived empires that rose and crumbled to dust on top of it. Thousands of years after the last Sumerian was gone, people were still weeping for the shepherd king who refused to stay dead. And they were doing it in a place, written down in a book, that should stop you cold. The book is the Bible, and the place is a temple in Jerusalem, hundreds of miles and thousands of years away from the Sumerians who first carved his name. In the book of Ezekiel, the prophet is given a vision. He's led to the north gate of the Lord's own temple, and there, inside the holiest site of a people who worshipped one God and forbade all others, he sees them, women, sitting in the gate, weeping. And the text names exactly who they're weeping for. Tammuz. Tammuz is Dumuzid, same shepherd, same God, same king who reigned 36,000 years. The Sumerian name faded, the Akkadian name Tammuz took its place, but the dying king was the same. And here he is, so powerful that even inside the temple of a rival god, women still couldn't stop mourning him. Think about how impossible that is. Sumer was already ancient history when Ezekiel wrote this. The prism, the kings, the flood, all of it was buried under 1,000 years of dust. And still the shepherd walked, still they wept. Now follow it forward. That mourning outlived Ezekiel too. It spread west, to the Levant and to Greece, where they called him Adonis, the beautiful youth who dies and returns. It braided itself into the calendar, and here is the part that should genuinely unsettle you. Open a calendar in Iraq today, look at the months. There, sitting in the height of summer, the exact season the Sumerians said the shepherd king went down into the earth, is a month still called Tammuz. Not a museum piece, not a footnote, a living word spoken by millions of people every single year in the same land where it began. The kingship descended from heaven in Eridu. Empires rose and fell for 4,000 years, and the name of the king of 36,000 years is still on the wall, still on their lips, right on schedule, every summer when he's said to die. So no, he was never a mummy in the desert. He's something stranger. A king the world was never allowed to bury. Every summer he dies, and every spring the story insists he comes back. And after 4,000 years, nobody has ever managed to make it stop. Which brings us back to where we started, and to the one thing about those numbers we still haven't answered. 10 SARS, exactly 36,000. A number too clean to be a mistake, buried inside a list we spent 100 years calling a myth. And we still don't know why they encoded it. Maybe it really was just sacred math, a scribe reaching for the biggest holy number he had. Or maybe the Sumerians were doing what every culture does with something it can't bear to lose. They took a truth, wrapped it in a number no one could forget, and trusted it to survive. If that's what they did, it worked. Everything else from their world turned to dust, the cities, the kings, the language itself. But the shepherd who reigned 36,000 years is still here, still on the calendar, still dying every summer, still coming back every spring, exactly on schedule. The Sumerians tried to make him permanent, and 4,000 years later, he still hasn't stopped walking. But Mesopotamia isn't the only ancient people who buried something that refused to stay buried, because further west, in the tombs of Egypt, there was a warning, and the people who ignored it didn't live to tell the story.